Hello everyone, I've got another video for you today. I wanted to show you how to do my knotted cast on, and I've used this for a couple of different projects, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do it because how you're going to use it is going to depend on the thickness of your yarn. For example, this is a fairly medium weight yarn. I've done this. This is with a drop stitch, and it's a cowl. And here's my knotted cast on right here. So I've got this little, and this is actually done with a graduated cast on. It's cast on like this with the point. I'm going to do a separate video on how to do the graduated cast on, but I wanted to show you how to do the knot cast on, and then I'll do the cast off in a separate video. Just an example, this is a triple knotted cast on. This is a much thicker yarn, and this is a single knotted cast on. And then here's a little sample piece that I did to show you. This would be the single knotted cast on, and then this is the double knotted cast on, and then this is the triple knotted cast on. It's pretty simple, it's just kind of tedious, and you can use it with any stitch. You don't have to use it with this drop stitch. I'll show you an example. This little project I'm playing around with an idea here. This is actually done with a flat knit and a purl. So you can see where I've cast it on with a purl, and then I've cast it on with a flat knit. So you can work this little knot with any stitch that you want to work. I do recommend that right after you do the knotted stitch you do a purl to help it from curling, but I'll show you that while I'm showing you the how-to, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. And you can do this with a flat loom, a long loom in other words, or a round loom. This little scarf was done on like a 50 peg long loom. I'm just going to show you how to do it on my round loom here. Oh, the dogs are asking for dinner. Can you believe that? And, oops, I'm sorry. We are going to use a pretty, I would say this is probably on the lighter side of medium. Again, you'll want to experiment with your yarn. Practice this technique and determine how many knots you want on your cast on. So all we're going to do is do our basic slip knot, and then we are going to, when you do your cast on any type of loom, you're not going to use your slip knot as a cast on. You're going to put it on either an anchor peg like this, or you're going to put it on a secondary peg. Sorry, my knot came out. Or you're going to put it on a secondary peg that you're going to later pull off. So this is going to be peg number 1. If you didn't have a starter peg, you could put it on this peg. This will be your first peg, and then you just cast this off later. But this is not your starting. You're not going to use your slip knot in your knitting. So we're going to put this on our holding peg right here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to bring your yarn up, and you are going to, I'm going to work upside down on this just because, I'm sorry I keep kicking my camera, because it's a lot easier to do upside down than it is to do right side up. But you can play with it and figure out what's best for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring your yarn up from your holding peg. You're going to wrap it around the front of this peg. You're going to wrap it again, and you're going to bring your yarn up with your hook up with your yarn and pull this yarn down and flip it over the back of the peg. Let me show you that one more time. Again, bring your yarn up, wrap the front of your peg, wrap it again, come up from the bottom with your hook, pull your yarn down, and then flip it over the back of your peg. I call this a purl over. I just came up with it and I use it for a lot of things. And then you're going to purl, moving in the same direction, the same peg. You're going to purl what you just cast off. And your first one's going to be kind of hard because of this holding peg here. So you can take that off if you want to make it easier. And then you're just going to snug it up. You're not going to pull really tight. You just want to snug it up so you take up any gap in the yarn. That is the single knotted cast on. So we're going to do that again. We're going to move forward, come around the front of our peg, wrap it again, come up, pull your yarn down and flip it over the back. That's the purl over. And then snugging up your yarn in between, just snug it up, don't pull it really tight, and then you're going to do a purl. There's your single knotted cast on, okay? Again, around the front of the peg, around again. Go to the bottom of your peg and put your hook up through, then pull your yarn down and flip it over the back. And then snug it up, and then come around the same direction you started in and do a purl. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you if you were doing this way so you could see it. You're going to come around the front of your peg, around again, and you're going to come up from the bottom, pull your yarn down, and flip it over the back of your peg. That's your purl over, and then you're just going to do a purl by pulling it up and then flipping, pull your yarn off. Oops. Like I said, this is a lot more difficult for me. I like working upside down. And then you slide it back on there. So there's 4 single knotted cast-ons. And what I want to point out to you is it looks pretty plain and pretty basic. But after you get it off, you get this nice little bump right there. So that's your single knotted cast-on right there. Okay? So now I'm going to show you how to do the double knotted cast-on. So it's the same procedure. I'm going to wrap once, pull the yarn down towards the bottom of your loom and flip it back. Then we're going to do a purl. Okay, now working on the same peg, we're going to repeat that process. Wrap, pull your yarn down, flipping it over the back, and then do another purl. So now you have 2 strands of yarn. You're simply going to yarn over the bottom strand over the top strand, and that gives you the double knot. Again, this is going to be, if you want something a little bit more noticeable, you can do the double knot. So here's your single, here's the double. These two got kind of close together, but that's generally what the double knot looks like. Okay, so let's do it one more time. Okay, you're going to wrap your yarn, pull your yarn down towards the bottom of your loom, and then flip it over the back. That is the purl over. And then you're going to do a purl, like so. And then ignoring this one, you're going to repeat that process. Do your purl over, and then do a yarn over. And that's your double knotted cast on. So you can see on here, you got quite a bit of difference from the single to the double. Okay, so let's do that one more time. Going to do your purl over, snug it up, then do a purl. Oops. And then snug that up. Again, you want to snug it, but you don't want to like really tighten it, or you won't be able to yarn over. So you just snug it up. Again, ignore the first yarn and repeat the process. Do our purl, snug that up just as much as it'll go, no more, and then do your yarn over. Okay, Now we'll do it one more time. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 singles. We'll do one more double. So we're going to do our purl, yarn over, snug it up in between all of your nets, all of your yarn overs, then do a purl, snug that up just as much as it'll snug. Don't try and get this to close up because it won't. And then you do your purl over again, and then you snug it up, and then you do your purl, snug that up, and then you yarn over your bottom yarn over your top yarn, okay? So that's the double knot. Now the triple knot is pretty much the same thing. You're going to wrap, do your purl over. You see how loose it is? You're going to snug it up like that, and then you're going to do a purl, like so. Snug that up, and then you're going to repeat, wrapping it, do your little purl over the top, snug that up, and do a purl, snug that up again, slide those down to the bottom of your peg and do it one more time. Do your purl over, snug it up, do a purl, snug that up a little, and then you're going to yarn over these two over the third one. So you only have one strand left on your peg, okay? Let's do that one more time. Do your purl over, snug, purl, snug that up, do your purl over, snug that up, then you're going to purl, and then you want to snug that up, and then you want these two down at the bottom of your peg so that you have room to work. And you're going to do one more with your purl over, snug it up, and do your purl, and then snug that up like so, and then yarn over these two, and again a little snug, okay? And again, you can see the difference. Here's your single knot, here's your double knot, here's your triple knot, and then we'll do it two more times to show you. And we just keep our little starter string down there. Again, we're going to wrap, pull this yarn down, and then flip it over the back like so, snug it up, and do a purl. Okay, snug that up a little. So go around the front again. So we're going to go from the bottom, pulling down, flip that over the back, snug it up, and then your purl, which is coming from the top and pulling up, and sliding this off and snugging that up. Okay, one more time, wrapping, pulling down and flipping back over with a snug, and then a purl, which is pulling up and slipping off the previous yarn. Oops. Again, snug it up, yarn these two over, snug that up, and the last one, I'm going to do this one more time. And we're going to do our purl, snug it up, do a purl over, which is pulling down and then flipping back, snug that up, do the purl, which is pulling up and then sliding off this yarn, snug that up, one more wrap, pulling down, oops, pulling your yarn down and flipping it back over the top, snugging up, and then pulling your yarn up and sliding this off the peg. Snug those up, Then you're going to cast these two over, and then what I like to do to keep my my knots from, you know, doing that flip up, I always do a purl. I like to do a purl. You don't have to, but it'll keep it from doing that little flip. So you just do a purl first thing, and then I would continue on with whatever stitch you would like to combine this with on your project. Now on this cowl I showed you, I didn't have to do the purl just because this is such a loose, this drop stitch is so loose that, I mean, it's got a little tiny bit of curl, but with these looser stitches it just falls by itself. So it just hangs really nicely, and it looks kind of cute. I actually really like this. I'm looking forward to the cool weather so I can wear this one. So anyway, but I do, and then also to let you know too, with the with this one here, I actually combined this knotted cast on with my chainmail stitch, and I do have a video of the chainmail stitch on my YouTube channel, so you can find that. So here we have the single knotted cast on with the chainmail. Chainmail is my purl over all the way around, and then a purl all the way around. So it's almost the same thing, it's just done a little bit differently. This is the 2 knot cast on with the chainmail stitch, and this is the 3 knot cast on with the chainmail stitch. And then this is just your regular E-wrap knit. And I'm going to show you how to do the cast off in a separate video. So I think that's about it. I think I've got it covered. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them here. I'll be happy to reply. And I hope you have fun creating some unique projects with this cast on. Thanks for watching.